big thing in Canadian culture right now. Now, my question for Arkin is, if I understood your position correctly, and obviously correct me if I'm wrong, you were saying that you can't support open borders for immigration because of the distorting effects on the democratic state. Is that right?
Because of the effects on what's left on our liberties.
Through the exercise of the franchise right.
Well, and through anti-discrimination laws.
Well, it seems to me then, if we agree, and maybe we don't, that freedom of movement is a central libertarian principle, I mean, within property rights and all that stuff, right? Then the libertarian position should be to have open borders, and if the thing standing in the way of that is a democratic state, then the position should be an anarchist position rather than a minarchist position, right? So I'm just curious what your response to that is.
If you are interested in consequences, you're going to look at what are the consequences of what you're proposing. And if the consequences of opening the borders is that the state is going to collapse and be replaced by no state at all, and all of us living in perfect liberty, then of course I would agree with opening the borders right now, and I would advocate people actually crossing the borders even if it's illegal, and the more numerous they are to crush the border cops, the better it is. But if you think that opening the borders is more likely to lead to one of the two following situations, then your appraisal is going to be different. The first situation is that the immigrants come here, they are even worse than the babies we produce, vote for even more expropriation and more control of the state and more Leviathan, as I will talk about this afternoon, then of course you would not favor this course of action. The second possibility is that all these people come here, they make unreasonable demands on the state collapses and is replaced by worse than it was before, either worse on the left or worse on the right. It doesn't matter. It's worse, and then you would not favor this course of action. And my claim would be that it is likely that you would have one of these two sets of consequences instead of having the consequence that the state is going to collapse and tomorrow morning we'll all be living in perfect liberty here. Nobody, no tyrant in the world will be interested in coming and stealing whatever we have, and everything will be fine.
Okay, we've got 4 minutes, 4 questions. So 30-second questions, 30-second answers.
Well, I was just going to say that I thought that animal rights are really outside the libertarian philosophy. So it's not part of the discussion, just like religion or, so some libertarians would be for animal rights and some might be against animal rights.
Rights are important. You cannot say that about rights. You can say, are animals nice things? Should they be treated well? Yes. But rights means that they can be enforced, that people can be compelled to respect them. If you believe that there are animal rights, you believe that the state can compel people to treat the animals the way that people who think they have those rights do. That's political. It is not just a matter of opinion. We cannot say that libertarians can say you can believe whatever you want on that subject.
I think Lewis makes a very good point that the purpose of libertarianism, or the main purpose at least, is how can we all humans get along with each other?
Yeah,
the way we get along with each other is with the non-aggression principle, and animals are not part of the equation.
Yeah, it's a philosophy about human interaction. It's got nothing to do with animals.
When you say nothing to do with, that's just wrong.
Yeah,
the animals are out there.
Michael Vick was put in jail for dog fighting, and the question is this right or wrong?
Wrong.
So it's not totally totally divorced.
It's up to libertarians to choose. They could live in a society that values animal rights, or they could choose to live in a society.
Lewis, you've opened up a new door, but we have no time. It's going to be a lunch hour discussion. Let's get our 30-second question from John Shaw, and then Phil, and then Dan.
Okay, I heard a lot of support for default and debt by government. Debt is created by voluntary agreement, contractual agreement between institutions and governments, sometimes people and governments. Huge violation of property rights. So how, in libertarian theory, can default and debt be justified in terms of property rights theory?
Because the state is not a legitimate contractual party. They're a gang of thieves. And what they contract to is not binding morally on anyone. That's a 30-second answer.
There's a 30-second answer.
Okay, sorry, but I understand that from the original debate, but I don't see that that's an answer. That's avoiding the question. Because, sorry, to explain what I'm saying there. It avoids the question because by you're saying that is not a legitimate institution, but it is an institution. They
Not
are.
a legitimate one.
That's a legitimate 1-hour question over lunch. Phil.
Actually, my question has been asked already, so.
Okay, and then the last question, Dan.
Same, mine has pretty much been covered. It's basically a chicken or the egg came first. Regarding the people having the right to free lunch or thinking they have a right to free lunch, did high taxes create that, or was it the other way around? Did people's wanting to have a free lunch create the high taxes? And is that, of course, being used as a tool of the government to continue to control us?
It was people wanting political power, inducing those people to believe that they can have a free lunch. And the purpose of that is to get them a job at public expense and lots of power over other people. Period.
Okay, I think that leads.